Lesson 5, Variable Number of Rows. Well, if you think about most data sets that you get, they're going to have a different number of rows from day to day to day. Like an invoice register might have 40 invoices today and 50 invoices tomorrow, or 30 invoices the next day. So we need to learn how to record a macro to account for a different number of row differences. And we're going to do this using the end key for navigation. Let's get started. I want to introduce you to a key on your keyboard called the end key. Now, if you haven't used end before, it's a very slick key. It's over on the right-hand side, usually above the arrow keys on a desktop keyboard, in that block of 5 or 6 keys that includes insert, home, and delete. When we press the end key, we're in something called end mode. Now, in Excel 2003, end appeared in the status bar on the lower right-hand side. In Excel 2007, you see down here, it says we are in end mode. And basically, when you're in end mode, the next arrow key that you press is going to jump to an edge of the data. So from cell B2, I'm in end mode. I press the down arrow key. I'm going to go to the last row until it hits a blank. If I would press end and then the right arrow key, I'll jump over to the edge of the data. End up will take me to F2, and end left will take me back to where I started. Now, what if you're already at the last row? So if I'm here at F2, I'm at the edge of the data. If I would press end right again, it's going to jump the gap of blank cells and end up at the next cell that has data. So end right will take me over to column J, end right to the edge of the data, and then end right will take me all the way to column XFD, the edge of the spreadsheet. So the end key is a great way to jump to the edge. Now, just one gotcha that you have to worry about with the end key is the blank cells in the middle of your data cause the end key to stop prematurely, because it stops as soon as it encounters a blank cell. So pressing end and then the down key will stop the blank. We'll have to deal with that outside of the macro recorder. There are ways of dealing with it, but for right now, we're going to assume that our data is a nice contiguous data set all the time. So let's talk about how to record a macro that can jump down to the last row in the data set. I have here 3 different size data sets. Pretend that this is column A from an invoice register on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And I want to record a macro that will go down and find the last row with data, find the next row, and type the word total. My goal here is to record a macro that won't always go to row 17, but will end up wherever the end of the data is. So we're going to turn on the macro recorder. I'll call this add total. Shortcut key of Control-Shift-T. We'll store it in this workbook. Click OK. Now, of course, we have to make sure that relative reference is on here. And it is. It's still turned on from before. So if you have not been working along with the other lessons, you might want to go to the Developer tab, make sure that relative reference is on. We'll press the end key, the down arrow one more time, and then type the word total and press Control-Enter to stay in the current cell. Now, let me stop recording here and we'll test our macro. So I'll go to a shorter data set, run Control-Shift-T, and the total appears exactly where we expect it to. Go to a longer data set, Control-Shift-T, and the total appears exactly where we want it to. So if you have a data set, nice contiguous data set, you need to get down to the bottom of that data set so you can add some totals, add some other explanatory notes. Using the end key for navigation is a great way to find your way down to the end of the data set. Now let me just show you the one problem here is if you have data that is fairly sparse. Let me say that this data was double spaced for some reason. This macro will not work. If we start here and press Control-Shift-T, the total does not really reflect the entire data set. When we're able to go in and write our own code, we're actually always going to start at the last row with data. Conceptually, it's going to be either 1048576 or 65536. We'll go to that cell, press the end key, and then the up arrow key and the down arrow key to make sure that we end up at the true end of the data set every time. But for now, as you're recording macros, make sure to always turn on relative reference, use the end key, the down arrow key twice, and you'll be down at the end of the data set where you can start to add your totals. In the next lesson, we'll take a look at actually putting those totals in. One of the other huge gotchas with the macro recorder when we're trying to add totals at the bottom of a data set. You'll learn about that in the next lesson, and I hope that you found this lesson useful.
Looking to advance your career by acquiring new skills? Tired of expensive off-site training programs? Wish you could learn from the best instructors in the industry? Look no further than live lessons. Self-paced, personal video instruction by the world's leading technology publishers. Each live lesson comes with a DVD featuring 3 to 4 hours of instructor-led classroom training, sample program code that allows you to work along with your personal instructor, and an example-rich study guide. Live lessons allow you to watch the entire course from start to finish, or navigate directly to any of the individual lessons. You'll literally watch over the shoulder of your instructor as he shows you how to build state-of-the-art applications. Live lessons, the power of the world's leading technology experts at your fingertips. To learn more, visit mylivelessons.com today.